Doctor Who Series 11 and 12, run by Chris Chibnall, are perhaps the most controversial and criticised series of all of Doctor Who's history. Well, in contrast to this, most of Chibnall's episodes in Torchwood have been favoured by its fans, with people even saying that he's saved the show. But why is this? How can one writer ruin the very show whose spin-off he saved? Today I will be analysing this, and discussing the comparisons between Chibnall's writing on Doctor Who versus Torchwood. First off, let me just say that I do enjoy Series 11 and 12, however I can understand some of its criticism. The main difference between Chibnall with Doctor Who and Torchwood is that in Doctor Who, Chibnall is the showrunner, whereas in Torchwood, Chibnall was just an occasional writer. He didn't run the show, not to sell his writing short, however. Since Chibnall thrives off of preconceived ideas, he is better at creating new stories and theories using plots and characters we already have some sort of grasp on, highlighting why Series 12 was so much more successful than Series 11. Series 11 had featured all original villains, and had only touched on previous plots of the show in one-off lines or gags, like Jodie's reference to the unicorn and the wasp in Kablam, and her Fez arriving in the TARDIS that same episode.
Still me?
I think the Series 11 was not received as well as other series because it was so new and different, with a new Doctor incarnation where she became a woman, 3 main companions, a new style of show completely with a more cinematic production of episodes with less episodes, and previous composer Murray Gold being replaced with Sigar Nakanola. It was different, but still didn't feel like it added much to the show, with there being no true series arc other than character-based ones, which were on new characters. However, this is because Chibnall's main strength in his writing is his character development. The main theme of Series 11 was family, and Chibnall executed this idea extremely concisely, with there being Graham's battle without Grace established right from the start, leading to his decision-making in the finale. Although Chibnall's strong suit is character development, I think he could have used this talent a lot better in Series 11. One of the complaints about Series 11 is the use of 3 companions. It was a lot, especially as the series before this had only 1 main companion, plus comic relief. A key example of Chibnall's downfall in this is with the character Yaz. Many people, including myself, had joked that she didn't exist. And... wait, who was I talking about? It had gotten so bad that when my friend and I had asked our Welsh teacher, who was watching Series 11 at the time, if he liked Yaz, he replied with, "Who?" extremely unironically. I think that Chibnall had developed all the wrong characters, or spent too much time developing Graham and Ryan, which is mirrored in Series 1 of Torchwood, where Yanto and Tosh were basically irrelevant except from 2 standalone episodes where their characters were explored, which is similar to in Doctor Who, where Yaz was only really explored in The Woman Who Fell to Earth and Demons of the Punjab. Throughout Series 11, Chibnall had written or co-written 6 episodes. The Woman Who Fell to Earth, The Ghost Monument, Rosa, Arachnids in the UK, The Saranga Conundrum, and The Battle of Ranskor Av Kolos. Kolos. Admittedly, the overdeveloped one-off characters in these episodes did go towards Chibnall's theme of family. However, he could have used this time to develop the main companions more so that there would be more payoff in the finale. Grace's death at the end of episode 1 wasn't sad, since we knew nothing about her. It did make sense for her to die then because of its significance in the finale, but the finale was the only time we saw Graham angry about her death. So him wanting to kill Tim Shaw seemed like it came out of nowhere. The same thing can be said about Ryan's reconciliation with his dad in Resolution. We had only occasionally heard about Ryan's dad, and how awful he was, and only saw him for the first time in the special. The scene where Ryan was confronting his dad in the cafe was extremely powerful. It felt like such a release. However, this, to me, was ruined by Ryan's sudden forgiveness towards his dad, even going as far as to say that he loves him. This seemed a little unrealistic, and this is coming from someone who also has a shitty dad. Where I will say Chibnall's character development mostly excels, though, is with the Doctor. She tries to be nice and is always kind. She's the Doctor of Hope, and completely mirrors the regeneration speech of the 12th Doctor, minus the Piers. Yet she still has her dark moments, especially in Series 12, adding to the layers of her character. She's bubbly and childlike, and quite alien in the way where she can be socially awkward. I will say that this awkward trait that the Doctor has was placed awfully in the Series 12 episode, Can You Hear Me? This is one of my favourite Doctor Who episodes, and although you can argue that Jodie's awkward response to Graham's concerns of his cancer returning can also signify how some things are hard to talk about, she's the Doctor. She would know what to say. And it was so painful to watch. There are moments like this which make Jodie's Doctor a lot more unlikable than she could be, since she seems very entitled in Series 11, especially in Suranga, where she gets proven wrong multiple times. I do like this, however, since it shows the Doctor isn't perfect, and seems like direct commentary for Tennant's Doctor, where he became arrogant and never called out for it until the specials, particularly The Waters of Mars. Jodie is an amalgamation of her former selves, showing perfectly how Chibnall plays better off of pre-made ideas, and I like it, even though I understand this may not be to everyone's tastes. In Series 12, we got to see this trait of Chibnall's a lot more, since they were returning characters and villains, which made for an overall more exciting and refreshing experience. Chibnall wrote and co-wrote 7 episodes in this series. Spyfall Part 1 and 2, Fugitive of the Judoon, Praxius, Can You Hear Me?, Ascension of the Cybermen, and The Timeless Children, plus the special Revolution of the Daleks, which is yet to be released. I have heard some people claim that Series 12 relied too heavily on its shock factor to be good. However, I think it's the use and placement of these shocking moments which should also be taken into consideration. Near the end of Series 12's first episode, Spyfall Part 1, we are left with the revelation that O is in fact the Master. Sorry, spoilers. This clever placement allows you to be invested in the series right from the start. There's a new Master, but didn't Missy die? Why is he here? What are his plans? It builds you up for the finale, which mirrors Chibnall's work in Series 2 of Torchwood, where Captain John Hart appears in the first episode, teasing to the finale where he appears once again as a part of the arc. Chibnall's writing mirrors this Torchwood series in Series 12 of Doctor Who again, in that Captain Jack's home planet is focused on, much like Gallifrey. Both Jack and the Doctor too have a lack of memory of their pasts. Jack is forced to forget his in Series 2, Episode 5, Adam, while the Doctor is made to question hers after Series 12, Episode 5, Fugitive of the Judoon. This episode of Series 12 as well is the one which gathered the most praise. It was exciting. By the end of its runtime we were left with so many questions and so much anticipation, with the unveiling of the Ruth Doctor and Captain Jack Harkness teasing the Lone Cyberman arc. However, this episode had still been criticised for the fact that Captain Jack didn't have a prominent role, and his lines could have been said by anyone. I don't think that was the point, however. Jack saying those lines was more than just to satisfy us Whovian nerds. He was there to tease his other future appearance in the special. Because, let's face it, he's in the special. Because otherwise he might seem a little thrown in, like, I'm excited that Jack's here, but why is he here? This way we may get to learn how he knew about the Lone Cyberman, and it could even tie into the special. We just don't know, and that's what Series 12 is all about. Questions we just have to be patient to wait for the answers to. However, in Series 2, we felt like all of our questions had been answered, with the exception of the mystery still behind Jack's character, which perhaps made the series finale feel a lot more satisfying, adding to why Series 2 of Torchwood is a lot more critically acclaimed than Series 12 of Doctor Who. Chibnall, as well, was writing for its second series ever, still early on in Torchwood's existence. However, in Doctor Who he was writing for a show with almost 60 years worth of canon, where any episode he wrote could have had a detrimental effect on the show's continuity. This is why I think Series 11 had a bad reception. He was playing it safe. And although it was all new, due to the aforementioned lack of arc, except from Timothy, the show was more standing still, rather than moving forward. But I think that Chibnall at least deserves some credit for trying something new on the show, even if it didn't end up paying off. Instead of a major arc, he decided to stick with a theme, family. It makes Series 11 stand out from all the rest, which in Doctor Who is quite impressive. Its broad theme as well dragged in a casual audience, which was well needed after Moffat's run, which is smart since it adds to the viewing figures, as Doctor Who nerds would have inevitably been watching anyway, whether they liked it or not, so that some of them could make video essays about it. Case in point. I think this sudden change to the show's layout was probably jarring to a lot of Doctor Who fans, and left the show feeling unfamiliar, which can be hard for a show that means a lot to you. In Torchwood, Chibnall was able to experiment a bit, since the show's reputation was still being built. It wasn't as fragile as Doctor Who's. This is, again, why Series 12 was so controversial. It was playing with decades worth of canon, giving fans and critics the perfect material to poke holes in. Chibnall was changing the Doctor's history. Or was he? There's still a lot we have left to learn about the events of Series 12, which is why I think we should hold back on any extreme criticism. Not to say his era doesn't deserve any criticism, of course. I just think he gets a lot of unnecessary hate. In Torchwood Series 1, Chibnall wrote 4 episodes. Day 1, Cyberwoman, Countryside, and End of Days. Some of these episodes are regarded as better than others, but one thing they all have in common is their fantastic character development. In Day 1, we follow Gwen along a realistic portrayal of her first day. In Cyberwoman, we learn all about Yanto and his connection to Doomsday. In Countryside, we see a glimpse of all the characters, especially Gwen, and the impact of Torchwood upon her. And in End of Days, we learn about each of the team's motivations for working at Torchwood and their loyalty to Jack, with the episode tying neatly into the Doctor Who episode Utopia. Other than its fantastic character development, End of Days was pretty underwhelming as a finale, with the arc of something coming out from the darkness, leading to a mere cameo of Abaddon. I think Chibnall went the opposite way to this in Series 11's finale, however, as the character development wasn't outstanding, but there was more of an impact in the appearance of the main protagonist. Until he got shot in the foot, that is. Timothy being defeated, no pun intended, that easily did not make for a good finale episode. A standalone, perhaps, but Tim was not given enough justice in that episode to work as a finale villain. It worked until the end, since Chibnall prioritised the character development of Graham over the actual storyline. The finale of Series 2 of Torchwood completely knocked the rest of the finales he's written out of the park, however. In Series 2, Chibnall wrote again 4 episodes. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, Adrift, Fragments, and Exit Wounds. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang was the first episode of Series 2 to air, setting up the finale perfectly through its introduction of John Hart in typical RTD camp fashion. Exit Wounds was the perfect finale. It contrasts to the rest of his finales in the fact that it actually felt like an end. In Ranscore, nobody died and everything had a happy ending. In the Series 12 two-parter, everyone had already died by then, and it acted as more of a cliffhanger. And in End of Days, none of the important characters died. Permanently, anyway. In Exit Wounds, however, 2 of the most favoured Torchwood team members, the ones in which you had started to love like family through Chibnall's writing skills, died. Forever. My heart still hurts from the pain. I think that's a key difference between Chib's writing on Torchwood compared to Doctor Who 2. On Torchwood, he doesn't have to hold back. He can develop any character he pleases and make you fall in love with them, and then, one merry day, just kill them abruptly right before your eyes. But with the age restrictions of Doctor Who, he's forced to hold back. He has to keep in mind that children do watch the show, so he can't write to his usual standard. Perhaps, again, this is why Series 12 is regarded as better than Series 11, since Series 11 was a lot more childlike and hopeful, whereas Series 12 included war, conflict, and straight-up genocide. It allowed Chibnall's darker sense of writership to come out and bleed into the show. This is why Series 2 of Torchwood was so impactful. Chibnall's darker writing style was used in the last 3 episodes of the series, and we all know the last tend to be the most important, the ones with the most revelations. Episode 11 was perhaps one of the best standalone episodes Chibnall had ever written. The rift-taking people as well as spitting them out. Simple on paper, fantastic in execution. The story and characters were so well executed that it had given me a moral dilemma.
It's not a good thing because you want to remember the person who you've lost in the best way possible. You don't want to see them after the accident. No, you wouldn't want to see his son after 21 hours.
And when an episode makes you think, you know it's good. Then we saw the series' penultimate episode, Fragments. Perhaps the perfect episode to come before the finale, as it helps to wrap everything up through the backstories of each Torchwood team member being shown, as well as leading nicely into the finale with the cliffhanger at the end. Chibnall Series 2 episodes were phenomenal, as they focus mainly on the characters, which, as we have concluded, is Chibs' most impressive area of writing. His Torchwood episodes as a whole are perhaps better because it is a darker show, and since Chibnall is best at characters, he is able to provide more of a connection to the audience with them through its more freeing target age range. Since Doctor Who is only a 12, however, he is less free with his ideas. It cannot create so much of an impact since it's meant to be a family-friendly show, explaining fans' general preference to Series 12 over Series 11. Another factor in this being that Chibnall is better at writing about preconceived characters or ideas, since he thrives more on reimagining, rather than imagining. Chibnall is not a bad writer. It is true that he thrives more off of dark themes, but no matter what ideas he has, he sticks to them. He commits. He definitely does have more standout strengths and weaknesses in his writing compared to others, but to me, that's better than a writer who is mediocre at everything. But what do you think?
What do you think?
Did I hit the nail on the head, or did I miss out some points? Let me know in the comments. I'd be really interested in hearing your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.